Today I'll be covering Python. You might be wondering why Python now, because all along I've been discussing about the probability and statistical stuff. It'll be boring if I talk continuously. And Python is also very popular now. Its popularities keep growing because Python is an open source software and very easy to learn compared to other programming languages. Okay, it also using Python, we can develop a wide range of applications, starting from web application development to implementing complex machine learning algorithms. Okay, that is also one of the key reasons the popularity for Python growth. Okay, for beginners, Python code is very easy to read and easy to learn, and it takes absolutely no skill to learn Python. And also, Rupa, what I would suggest, you can also side by side start practicing it. I will help you out how to install, how to configure. It's a very simple way to, the steps are very simple to install Python. I'll show you in the subsequent slide how to do that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so in this today's session, I'll be giving you the overview about the Python software and how to install the IPython notebook and using Anaconda distribution. Okay, so many distributions are available to install Python, but Anaconda distribution is the most popular one. It is the one widely used by many of the customers. And also it is very intuitive. Installation doesn't require any skills. Okay, and we will see followed by this one we will start get our hands dirty by working on Python, and I'll also help you understanding the variety of data types and other container types that are available as part of Python. And the next thing is I'll cover the variables, control structures, functions, how to create functions, how to create modules and packages. We will discuss in detail as we move further. First, we will learn what is Python and why Python is required. As I said earlier, right? So Python is a very simple, but it's a very powerful general purpose programming language. That is very much important. Simple is okay, but will that support, or will that help me to implement any type of my business problems or any type of business logic? Can I implement it using Python? Yes, it is very powerful. You can implement anything here. It's been around for 25 years. Okay, and if you can, yeah, this Python software is developed by a guy by the name of Guido van Rossum during the late 1985 to the middle 1990. He has developed this one as a hobby project. What has been started as a hobby project, right? Since he developed this, though it has been developed as an hobby project, now many of the customers' production environment has been running. Okay, they are using Python script now. As I said earlier, it is a multi-purpose scripting language. What is multi-purpose scripting language? That we will see it in the subsequent slide, so that we will be understanding how powerful Python is. So Python is interpreted. So what is interpreted? Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. Okay, you don't have to compile your program before executing it, like how we do it in other languages like Java and C, C++. Okay, this is similar to Perl and PHP. And Python is interactive. What is interactive? You can just sit at a Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly to write your program. Those of you have already worked on Spark, right? Then you must be aware what is interactive is all about. In Python, you have something called REPL prompt, REPL, REPL. So by getting into the REPL prompt, you can interactively write some programs, write programs to Scala. Okay, Spark, they developed it using Scala only. Scala is a language. Okay. The next thing is Python is object oriented. Python supports object-oriented style or technique of programming that encapsulates code within your objects. Okay, so that is the beauty of Python. Okay, Python provides extensive framework, and also plethora of libraries are available in Python. Though plethora of Python libraries are available in Python, our focus is mainly on data science. Okay, data science related packages. I'll be covering it. So it can be seen here, right? So NumPy and Panda, these are the packages we'll be using it. Okay, but apart from this, there are few other packages will also be using it as part of our machine learning algorithm or development. Okay, at the time of model building, I will demonstrate you. But these are the key libraries. NumPy. What is NumPy? If you wanted to perform any numerical computation, then you can go for NumPy. But without installing NumPy in your Python as part of your Python installation, this will not come. NumPy you have to install it. Okay. If you don't use NumPy also, right? The basic Python supports all kind of arithmetic operations. You can perform all kind of computations without NumPy also, but we have done some kind of benchmark with the NumPy, without NumPy. If I write a for loop, especially with 1 million records, and do some kind of simple arithmetic operations with the NumPy, the performance is much faster. It performs the computations, especially for the 1 million records, with simple complexity. It performs much faster than the traditional Python based the for loop iterations. Okay, so NumPy is much faster. And next one is Pandas. Pandas is meant for storing, to slice the data and any data munging activities if you wanted to do. What is data munging? Data munging is nothing but cleaning the data and also finding out missing values in your data set. In case of any missing values are there in your data set, how do you deal with that? To deal with the missing data, we use a technique called data imputation. I will explain you in detail about the data imputation down the slide. Right. So data imputation, data cleaning. If you wanted to aggregate the data, if you wanted to mesh the data, if you want to de-aggregate the data, or if you wanted to perform any kind of data analysis, that is also possible using Pandas. Pandas is very handy, especially to do data analysis and slicing and dicing the data, right? So you can use Pandas. And next thing is, these are the three packages: Seaborn, Matplotlib, and Plotly. So these three packages are meant for data visualization. So with these, using these packages, you can render amazing plots. These two, the remaining two packages like scikit-learn and stats models. Using scikit-learn, you can implement machine learning algorithms. Many of them, they use scikit-learn because many inbuilt functions or methods are available. Simply by importing that, you can just pass the data, and if you can execute it, you can find the output of your statistical model. Apart from this, you have another package called stats models. Using stats model, you can perform all the statistical analysis. For example, if you wanted to find out some probability, in the case of binomial distribution, in the case of Poisson distribution, any type of probability distribution, based on which if you wanted to make any prediction, or if you wanted to conduct hypothesis testing, for those kind of statistical analysis, you can use stats models. In addition, you can implement machine learning algorithms also using stats models. Suppose a few of the algorithms, okay, statistical models like linear regression, logistic regression, are all possible. But scikit-learn is very dynamic. Lots of algorithms are available as part of scikit-learn. You can start from 0 to A to Z. All kind of machine learning algorithms are available as part of your scikit-learn. So which all companies that use Python? Starting from Google, the internet giant, Google, they use Python for their search engine and for their spider, web spider, right? So they are using Python. And YouTube is also Google's, the one of the Google's company, right? So most of the Mozilla's and use YouTube's installations, implementation, they used Python. Even Instagram, and also they are using Python. And I hope all of you must be aware of NASA. NASA is a space research center, right, in US. It's the large space research center and most popular one. So as part of NASA, there is a center called Johnson Center. It is a kind of division. Okay, so there they made it mandatory and to use Python as their standard scripting language in their planning division. Okay, they are using it there. So this list is not an exhaustive one, and now even the startup from if you take any startup company from startup to all that tech giants, they're all using the Python. Okay, you must be wondering what all the things that I can do Python apart from machine learning, right? So initially they used Python to develop web applications. And also they started implementing machine learning algorithms using scikit-learn, NLTK. NLTK is a very hot topic. Okay, Natural Language Toolkit, NLP. NLP is the hot topic. In Python, using NLTK package, you can convert the unstructured data, especially the blog related data. For example, microblogging website like Twitter. So any tweets, if you wanted to extract it based on certain topic, you can extract it into your big data environment, and then using NLTK package you can convert those the unstructured tweets into structured tweets, and then you can do all kind of operations like how we do it with the structured data, and you can extract and gain some insights. So I just give you a quick idea about what is NLP, Natural Language Processing. Though it is a very dry topic, okay, it's a boring topic, but still many of the enterprises and even startups, they are focusing more on the NLP area, because Twitter and Facebook, whatever the comments posted by the public users, right? So you can take their feedback and then you can do analysis and what is their pain area and why they are after my competitor's product. Though the cost of my product is very low, still my customers are after my competitor's product, where I am lacking, where I need to improvement, right? If you wanted to understand the strength of your competitor or competitor services, right? So you need to get customers feedback. Not all the time it is possible to get the customers feedback, especially to get the customer feedback or customers opinion. You have to run a survey. Running a survey is a very costlier, prohibitively cost wise very high. So these kind of techniques helps you to take the customers feedback from various portals, especially the review portals and Twitter posts and Facebook, many other websites. All you need to do is just get the API and connect to Twitter or Facebook or any other blogger site and scrape the data and bring it to your local environment, and then convert all your unstructured text data into meaningful data. With that you can find out. Okay, I'll give you one demo probably at the end of the session, so that you will get the feel of okay, what is natural language and how it helps the organizations to keep up the pace with their competitors. Okay, so apart from this, you have something called TensorFlow. TensorFlow was developed by Google. Okay, this is a framework. They use TensorFlow for deep learning implementations. Okay, and you have another interesting discipline called computer vision. As part of computer vision, you can do face detection and object recognition, color detection, while using OpenCV and Python. With the combination of these two, you can do face detection also and object recognition even if you do some googling to check the object recognition, it's a very interesting topic. A guy by the name of Andrew Ng, N for Nancy, G for God, okay, Andrew Ng, he is the one, right? So earlier he was working with Stanford University. Okay, he trained a robot. Okay, that right. So in such a way, if he orders something, the robot will go and pick up the items. For example, if he wants coffee to be picked up for him, all he has to do is just inform the robot. It goes to the kitchen and pick up the coffee and come and give it to him. And also, if we show any object to the robot, it detects very clearly with high accuracy and tells out very clearly. Let's say if I show a marker pen, it tells very clearly it's a marker pen. If I show a mobile, it tells it is a mobile. Okay, that kind of intelligence, they have implemented with the advancement of computer vision discipline. Next, another important and interesting part is Raspberry Pi. You might have heard about this, Raspberry Pi board. Sorry, here the spelling mistake. RAS. Okay, Raspberry Pi. So it's a board like Arduino board, IoT, right? Thing, right? So you can you can develop some sensor related softwares, but Raspberry Pi is meant for you can develop a robot and automate your home. Not only to automate your home, you can use Raspberry Pi and using Python, right? So you can Python, you can train your robot based on the environment how it should react. Based on the environment how it should react. You might be wondering what is this. I was explaining you about Google self-driving car earlier. And so the Google self-driving car, right, when it happens to receive the sensor messages, something like it is going on, it's going in the road, and if it looks at the signal, if it is a red light, and based on that environment information which he received, it will stop the car. Okay. Similarly, Raspberry Pi, right? So even in your home also you can develop Raspberry Pi, and you can do some kind of home automation by simply writing programs in Python. Okay. For that you need to use different packages, right? So that's how you can implement it. So another interesting thing is web scraping. So many websites, if I wanted to get the data to do some kind of analysis, I have to manually go and take all the data. That is a time consuming thing, and also it's a very expensive proposition. In that case, using Python's one of the tool like PyCon, you can do web scraping. Although many of the websites nowadays they provide API to expose their data, but still few of the websites they don't provide that API. In that case, you can go for Python, and using Python you can go and take the data from those websites that doesn't expose API to take their data. Okay. Next one is GUI development. If you wanted to develop any desktop application, that is also possible. You have something called tkinter or PyQt packages are available, using which you can develop your desktop applications. And another interesting thing is game development. You can create a video game using a Pygame module. Okay, so if you use this module, you can develop games which can run on your Android devices. So with these things, what we can understand is Python is not only meant for machine learning, right? With Python you can do so many interesting things. Whereas in the case of R, you cannot develop a game software there, and you cannot develop a GUI application, right? That is the reason why we call Python as a multi-purpose programming language, scripting language. Okay. Especially the Raspberry Pi is the awesome one. So it is the brain of your robot. Okay, if you write any program in order for your Raspberry Pi board to learn from the environment and then react based on the sensor information which you received it's all possible with Python. With Python the possibilities are unlimited. That's what I would say. Okay, and in fact, we have I got an amazing opportunity to involve in a banking project to develop a bot using Python. Okay, we were using the SMS gateway to communicate from my bot to the custom bank's environment. From there, right, so bank will ask questions. For example, if you install that app in your mobile, right, and if you want to ask any questions, right, or if you want to do any kind of transaction with your specific bank, that bank will ask the first question, like, are you holding a checking account or current account? If you respond based on which, it will proceed further. Okay, that's what the simple POC we have done it in the past. How to use a bot, and right, that we have done it. We have demonstrated to our customer. Okay, so that's what the beauty of Raspberry Pi. You can develop the robot specific programs. Also, you can develop game, and you can develop your desktop application. For example, if you wanted to develop a billing software, you can develop it, and then you can install it in your Windows, and you can share it with your customers. And the major breakthrough they achieved was face detection, color detection, object recognition. Everything is possible with Python. By combining OpenCV and Python, you can achieve everything. NLTK is a very popular one, as I said earlier. TensorFlow is a framework, deep learning framework. It's all beautiful thing. Okay. Next, we will see how to install Python. The Anaconda distribution of Python is very popular. So that is the one widely used by many of the users, as I said earlier. Okay, I hope all of you might have installed Anaconda Python, right? So best thing what you do is you can go to Google, and 1 second, let me do one thing. So you just Google and do Googling, and then install or download Anaconda. Download Anaconda now. If you go here, continuum.io, if you go to that website, you can find two major versions of Python, 3.6 and 2.7. Though 3.6 version is the updated and up-to-date version, but still I would suggest you, and many of them still they are using Python 2.7, because in Python 3.6 few packages are not working well. It is throwing an error. Some bugs are there, but 2.7 is the most stable version. You can go here, either you can choose 64-bit or 32-bit. To start with, I would suggest install Python 2.7 32-bit installer, especially the Anaconda distribution. It's very good, and even my customer in their cluster environment, they've installed Anaconda Python only. It is working very well, the 2.7 version. And once you install that, you need to do some kind of configuration. But again, so you don't have to set the path manually in your Python environment variable like this. But just go and check. After you install this one, go to Windows environment variables, and then you can go and check whether these two paths are available. Path should be there. Already it should be there. In Python path, you need to create it. You don't have to create it. After installation, you just check whether the path is correct or not. All these files should be there. Okay. Users, home, Anaconda. What I would suggest you is, while installing Anaconda distribution Python, just click next. Don't do any custom installation. You don't change anything. Simply install it. Okay. Probably if you wanted to make some changes to the path, you can do it later once you gain experience. Okay, at this moment you do the typical installation. Okay, just click next, and then it will get installed, and then just check this one, just do a sanity check, okay, whether these paths has these locations, these folder names are available, then it is fine. Importantly, this one should be there. See users, home, Anaconda, DLLs, and library folder. In your path, you should have the scripts, and Anaconda lib folder should also be there. Otherwise, it will not work, especially when you wanted to do some kind of command prompt related activities. So if you have not yet installed, probably you can open a browser and side by side you can start download now itself. Okay, don't postpone it. If you postpone it, right, it will take longer time. Right, probably at the end of this today's session, if that gets downloaded, I can help you out on how to install, how to view this one. Once you install, go to the start button and then go to all programs and go to Anaconda 32-bit. Or if it is 64-bit, you can go to 64-bit. I would suggest you still to use 32-bit. Okay, and you click notebook. Okay, if you click notebook, you will find something like this. If you click notebook, once again I will repeat it. You go here, start button, Anaconda, and notebook. Don't forget it, notebook. If you click notebook, it will start Python's kernel. Okay, it will give you a message like this. Until if you get this message, you have to wait. The IPython notebook is running at, this is the URL, you will get it. Okay, you have to wait until you see this message. Don't rush. Okay, once you find this message, then you go to your browser and type the same thing. Okay, see here, localhost :8889. If you give it, it will automatically put the tree and it will take you to the Jupyter notebook. So this is the Jupyter notebook is very popular for the IDE. If you wanted to write scripts for your Python, you can go here and then you can write the scripts. All you have to do is, this is your Jupyter notebook's dashboard. On the right hand side, you can see something called new, right? And then you have to click Python 2. If you click Python 2, it will take you to the notebook. This is where you can write the commands. One simple command is welcome to Python world, and then shift and enter. You have to press shift and press enter to execute this command. Shift and enter. You have to press both together. Okay, in order to execute the program. Or what you can do is, these are all cells, right? Many cells are available. You can keep add cells. Here you select it and then you can see the the arrow, right? Right arrow, run cell, select below. If you click this one, it will get executed. Okay, or if you wanted to move the commands or one cell, these are all called cells. Okay, each and everything is cells, right? If you wanted to insert a cell above or below, you can insert it, or you can add include in between, you can include one more cell, right? You can add as many cells as possible. Or if you wanted to remove a cell, just click this one, cut selected cell. If you click this, it will get deleted. Or you can use plus you can give, or you can remove this one, right? So you can add cells. And for example, let's say here I'm using something called, let's say I'm using a variable called x. I assign a value to this variable 1, and I'm using capital X is equal to 2. What will be the answer? 1, 2. So what do you understand from this one? Python is case sensitive. This x is not same as this x. Python is case sensitive. You just remember this. Okay. Now I want this one to upper cell. You can just by clicking the up arrow, you can move the cell up, and or if you want to move the cell down, you can move it like this. Okay, those are the features are available. Anyhow, let us explore this Python notebook further as we move further. Okay. So it's very simple to install. The installation doesn't take much time. Okay. Installation takes some time, and even download doesn't take much time. Again, depends on your internet speed. Okay.
So I have already installed.
Very good. So you are able to access this one, right?
Jupyter screen is on my. I am able to get the screen.
This screen, right? Very good. Yes, fine. So apart from this Jupyter notebook, right? So when you install Python, what you can see is, right, you can find out apart from the notebook, you have two more things are available. This is what your command prompt, okay, the shell prompt, Python shell prompt. Here also you can type the command. Instead of using the IDE, you can specify the commands here, hello world. Okay, I'm just typing it. When press enter, hello world, you will get it. Okay, and hello world. So all the commands, whatever you write it here, you can write it in your command prompt itself. It is, this is what I said, right? It is interpreted and interactive. So it is more interactive. If you wanted to interact with the Python interpreter, just by typing, the commands one by one, step by step, if you wanted to find out what happens, you can execute it here. Okay, so but many of them, they feel now it is an advanced version of your the command prompt, this one Jupyter. Here also you can interactively type everything, you can see it everything, even debugging also you can do it in this thing. Okay, that is the one of the salient features of this. And apart from this, you will find as part of Anaconda installation, you have something called Spider. Spider is something similar to your RStudio, the IDE. Okay, so if you wanted to write any script, you don't have to use only the Python notebook, Jupyter Python notebook. You can use alternatively the Spider also. Okay, but again, you have to install Python, this one, the notebook in your laptop, right? So that Spider thing, you have to install it. Okay, you don't have to install it in the case of Jupyter Python notebook. This is a browser based one. Fine.
Jupyter can do all the work which Spider does.
Yeah, it is up to the the customer. Yeah, up to the customer, up to the developer. The choice is left to you, but you can do all kind of especially when it comes to debugging. Those kind of softwares are very much helpful now. Many options are available with the Python. You can do Python debugging in the command prompt itself. Right, so many options are available, but this is the one most widely used. Okay, the Jupyter notebook. Even you might have noticed or you might have heard from your friends, those working in Spark. Even they are using notebook. There is something called Zeppelin notebook. They will be using Zeppelin notebook, or some people, they will be using Jupyter as an alternative to execute your Spark or Scala commands. Okay, so it is up to the users or customers. Some customers, they say no, you don't use Spider, you have to use Jupyter notebook. All they have to do is they will give the server name instead of localhost. They will give the server name colon the port number. At the time of interview, if they ask don't tell localhost, with that they'll be easily find out that you never worked in Python, okay, or you in real time especially, right? So you have to tell, instead of localhost, the customer, they give their server name colon the port number. That's how you need to tell. Okay. Okay, once you are done with the installation part, the next one is right. So the sub packages. If you wanted to install additional packages, right? So not all the packages will get installed when you install Python, right? There are some packages you have to install it manually based on your need. That's the reason why you need to go to the command prompt. I'll just show you here. See, now I'm in the command prompt, Windows command prompt. So I have two options here to install a package. Either I can use conda install scikit-learn, pip install the package name. ggplot is another package name like scikit-learn. Okay, but these two are for two different purposes. What I was trying to say is, this was the package name. ggplot is a package name, scikit-learn is a package name. These two packages will never get installed as part of your installation. Okay, you need to install it explicitly, right? So for example, okay, now the question is, what is the difference between conda install and pip install? Certain packages you can install with conda and certain packages you can install with pip, because certain packages you can't install it with conda. Okay, and similarly the same thing is applicable with pip installation also. Okay, another important is, I will show you now. Okay, just watch my screen. Okay, anyhow I'm already on the internet. Scikit-learn. Okay, this is the machine learning package. I'm just installing it. I have a net connection now. I'm just pressing enter. Conda install scikit-learn, right? This is the package. Now I'm installing it. Hope you would have installed this one, Ankur. If not, please install it. Okay, side by side.
Where I have to write this? This is
Go to
screen
command
with
prompt.
tabs.
Go to command prompt. Go to your Windows command prompt. I guess you must be using Windows 10, right? I'm using Windows. See here, you just type CMD and go to the command prompt. And also, importantly, in the interview, if they ask you, okay, and have you worked on Windows or Linux, you tell that you worked in Linux. But again, it doesn't matter. Operating system doesn't matter because you will be working in a browser only, right? But tell them all I used to get is the server name, the colon, the port number, 8889, something like that. Okay, this is the port number. They'll be giving it to us. We will using the browser. We write the scripts in the Jupyter notebook. But still, you can't say all the time. Sometimes you have to go to the command prompt. You tell them, better that you worked in Linux environment. I will help you on the Linux environment also later, okay? Because majority of my softwares that I installed inside the Linux operating system, especially the VMware, okay? I will share it later on, okay? So when you install Conda, when you scikit-learn using Conda, right? It gives you this information. The following packages will be updated. See, already I have installed scikit-learn. What it says is, right, the scikit-learn related packages, right, it will try to update it. If any new version of the packages are available, it will upgrade my package. When you say yes, it will upgrade it. At this moment, I'm going to say no. But instead of conda install, let me try with pip install.
So here I have this, installed it, so it is asking for proceed. So I should also write no.
Yeah, okay, no, just say no. Or it means that it's already installed, right? So you don't have to update it at this moment, right? You don't do anything now. And alternatively, you can try pip install. But when you try with pip install, what you can see it here? Requirement already satisfied.
Yes.
So that means now you understood the difference between conda and pip. Pip will say whether this package is already there or not. If it is not that, it install it. If it is already there, it says requirement already satisfied. If it is already available, with the help of conda, right, we can upgrade the existing package. It shows, right, so you wanted to upgrade it, yes. Update the existing one, yes. If you give, it will keep your package up to date, right? So this is the the major difference between pip and conda.
So if we haven't installed it and we will try with the paper, then it will install the package.
Yes, of course. Right, so next thing is I'm moving to the types of Python IDE. Many varieties of the IDEs are available to develop your Python scripts. Okay, like Jupyter Notebook, Spider, PyCharm, many things are available. It is up to, as I said earlier, it is up to the customer, it is up to the developer to take the call. Whichever thing that you want, you can use it. But in our case, we are using Jupyter Notebook itself because we have to work on Spark as well as Python. It is very much handy for us to use the software agnostic GUIs, okay, GUIs. Okay, now to start with this one, right? So the indentation, the basics of Python programming. Right now, we'll try to understand. So, what is indentation? What is indentation? Why we are talking about indentation? Okay, this is the basic thing, fundamental thing. You should be aware of it, which is very unique to Python. The indentation thing. Okay. In Python, okay, it is very much required for indicating what block of code a statement belongs to. Right. So that is the reason why you should be aware of this one, indentation. So as you can see here in my screen, this is my OR program. So this is my control flow. If my item ID is equal to 500, then what I do is here one curly brace should come here. Okay, here I left it. Okay, here one curly brace. If my item ID is 500, then you perform this action, right? So I have written some another if condition. Okay, or what I'll do is for the purpose of Rupa, because she is completely new one for programming. Okay, let's say if SKU is equal to 500, then what I do is let's say stock on hand is equal to okay, and let's say stock hand. Okay, if item ID is sorry SKU QDY is equal to 500, what I do is stock on hand is equal to not this one. Okay, stock hand something, I'm doing it. Okay, or print stock on hand. Okay, print stock on hand. Before you print this one, right? So this item is available, but still you need to print the stock on hand. And also what you can do is stock on hand is equal to stock on hand minus ordered quantity. If you subtract this one, you will get the final thing. So this is the one you wanted to find out. After subtracting my current number of available quantity, I'm going to display these are the actions that needs to be performed if this condition satisfies. So what kind of actions? These actions I have wrote it inside my curly braces. This curly brace is nothing but my one block of my code. Okay, this is a block of code, right? But again, else part, if the SKU quantity is not equal to 500, then my control will come here. Right here, I do some other let's say I have some other activity. I'm going to add it. I'm performing it. Probably stock on hand plus recent quantity, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to add this one. So this is another block of code. So anything inside this curly braces is a block of code. Anything inside this curly braces is a block of code. But this block of code is different from this block of code. If the condition is true, then it will come. If the condition is not true, then it will come here. The control will come here. These statements will get executed. Right, this statement will get executed. Since a numeric thing, I don't have to enclose it with code, right? So this is the thing that I can do it. So in the case of Python, instead of curly braces, you have to use colon. This is very crucial. Don't forget this. Okay, colon you have to use it, right? So colon says this is my code of block. Colon says this is my code of block. Here I don't have to use the curly braces. Else, this is very important. Here the code of block is this one. To distinguish the code of block of my if condition and else condition, I have to use colon. But while you use colon, while you specify all the things, right, you need to leave indentation. Indentation, you must be familiar with this term. Indentation is nothing but leave a tab, or in this case I started if here, and in line with this one I have to type else. If I type else, if by giving one tab here, it will not be accepted by your Python. According to him, it is a mistake. I'll show you the code here. Okay, if you can look here, this is what the thing that I executed in my Python Jupyter notebook. Here, how many code of blocks are there, Rupa? If x is greater than 25, no, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is one code of block, another code of block, another code of block, right? If x equal to 25, where it will go, the control? It will not come here, because 25 is greater than 25, no, it will not come here. 25 is less than 25, no, then it will come here, the control will come here. So what are the codes, whatever the code statements they have written it as part of this else thing, right? It will get executed. But if you notice it very minutely, this else belongs to this if statement, right? And if this else, right, this else belongs to this if statement. It is something like, this kid belongs to this family, this kid belongs to this family. But this kid belongs to this entire thing, right? Entire this thing belongs to else, not this if. That's why I gave a tab here, right? But this else and if should be aligned properly. You are not supposed to give one more tab like how I gave it here. See, here I gave two tabs. That's the reason why the else moved far away from this if statement, right? So that's why it has thrown an error. Unindent does not match any outer indentation level. So net this else I should have given only one tab, so that this else text would have been aligned in line with your if statement. Okay, so it should be this way. Okay, if the else should be exactly aligned with your if like this. Okay, this one should be exactly aligned with this one, so that Python can easily understand, oh, this one is related to this if statement. Okay, if this condition is not true, that is the reason why it is coming here, right? It is not like if x is not if x is greater than 25, it will not come directly here. You are doing one more check here. Okay, this is how you need to give indentation. There are some hotkeys are available in your keyboard, I mean in Python, right? So using keyboard, the specific hotkey, you can either give tab or you can use the dedent. So by pressing tab, all of you must be familiar with this tab thing, right? In your keyboard you can find something called tab. Okay, if you press tab, it will give an indentation. Okay, sometime you don't need to give indentation, right? So in this case, right, you started your if here, and else also should be here. Here you don't need to have any indentation. Okay, dedent, the opposite of indentation. Dedent. Dedent is control this square bracket, left square bracket. If you give this one, it'll move forward little bit. I'll just show you here, right? So for example, yeah, if let's say x is equal to 20, if something, right? So if x is greater than 20, right? So though your cursor comes here, right? So you can, yeah, 1 second, I'll just print x, and here what I do, else print it is not equal, it is not equal, right? So that's how you can specify it here. But instead of this one, if I give one tab here, let us see what happens. Invalid syntax, right? So it says invalid syntax. To remove this space, I just select this one, control and the left square bracket, it will remove the tab. To remove the tab, step by step, right? You press control square bracket, or manually you can press backspace, and then you can bring it like this, right? So control this one. So that's how you need to make sure that you have properly given the indentations. Okay, so in the other languages, right, for legibility purpose, though we use curly braces in the case of our program, for legibility purpose, right, what we do is we'll leave space. Okay, see here the if else in line with this one I have given. If I have another if else under else, right, I have to leave some space. That is the best practice to understand how, which code of block belongs to which condition, else, well, whether it belongs to else or my parent block. That's how you should be able to understand. That is the reason why indentation is very much important, especially when you write lines and lines of code. Because of this, you will end up with many bugs, many errors. And as you can see, okay, let me see one more example. So this is another example. Here also the same thing, okay, but here I did not give any indent, but still it got executed. Why? If else, see the under else, the print I typed it here, the print I typed it here, I did not give any tab here, it is still working. Why? Because this line is not part of your this control flow. It is not part of this control structure. Yeah, it's a separate thing altogether. That is the reason why it got executed successfully. The next code of block, if you can see it, there is not much difference here. Instead of else, I am using elif, ELIF. Instead of using else and again if else, like I did it here, right? Under else, instead of putting if else, instead of specifying one more thing, here itself elif, ELIF. This I can combine with my else, ELIF. Elif, do this one, else, so that you can reduce the code block size also by using elif. Okay, so that's how you can write it. So next one is comments. So what is comments? So comments is a very common thing. So this is also one of the best practices, especially when your code becomes larger. Let's say tens of hundreds of lines, it becomes very tough to understand which code of belongs to which business logic, right? Because there are too many lines. What you could do in these kind of situations, you have to leave a comment, right? Comments are nothing but or sentences. It will not get executed by your computer. The trick is just put the hash symbol. This is the traditional one line comment. Okay, if I put hash in front of my some statement, right, it will not get executed by my compiler. Okay, my interpreter, in this case of Python, it's an interpreter, right? It will not get executed. It will simply ignore this line. It will not execute this one if you put comment. If you have multiple, if you wanted to put multi-line comment, then you can use 3 double quotes, triple double quotes. See, like this is how I did it. Okay, just I will give you to demonstrate this. Look here. I can specify a comment like this. Okay, this is to demonstrate various data types available in Python. Okay, now what I do is x11 is equal to 20 and y11 is equal to x plus x11 plus 20, print x11, print y11. Okay, 20, 40. So here this line was not executed, right? So it will simply ignore this one, whichever line you prefixed with hash. This is a single line command. If I wanted to include a multi-line command, you can have in between also, you can have it. Okay, let's say print demo multi-line command. So let's say I have multiple lines of comments, I have to include it to give more context to the users or the author or somebody else. Apart from the author, if anybody else wants to see the code, they should be able to understand the logic what we have implemented. As an author, you can understand what is author. I am the owner of this the script. I wrote the script. Okay, even if I don't leave comment, I can understand what logic I implemented because I was the one wrote this code. But apart from me, let's say if Ankur wants to understand my code, I need to put comments. These comments will enable him to understand which logic I implemented it here. So this is my multi-line command. You need to start with the 3 double quote and end with the 3 double quote. This is very much important. If you remove this one, everything else just below this triple quote will become a command. You need to put like this. So now the color, you can see, right? The color got changed. Okay, now what I do is inside this multi-line command, I am just putting capital X11 is equal to 25, print X11. Let us see if this capital X11 is getting executed. No, right? Print okay, and what I do is I will just print value of X11. So you can give some custom messages. Okay, You can use multiple print statement to display the value, values that got stored in your thing. This is the best practice. Value of x11 is equal to 20 and value of y11 is equal to 20. If I specify print values of capital X11, let us see what happens. It throws an error. X11 is not defined because you have defined it inside the multi-line command. This is also called as your docstring command. Docstring command. Multi-line command is also called as docstring command. Okay. So whatever you define it, the variables inside the multi-line command, it will not get executed. So what we can infer from this is Python compiler simply ignore this one. That's it. Next is line continuation. This is the thing you need to remember. Okay, I'll just show you this one. Line continuation. I have already written something. Yes, basics one. See, I uploaded this code, everything. Okay, in Python. Okay, if you write any script in Python, right, either the extension of your file can be either .py. In the case of Jupyter Notebook, right, the file extension is IPyNB, IPython Notebook. See, this is very much important. Certain basic things you should remember. Okay, because as part of screening process they will ask all these questions. What is your Python script file extension? Sometimes it will be .py, sometimes you can say IPyNB. I'll explain this later. Okay, you can write it in a notepad. Say, see, this is my notepad. In the notepad itself I can write all the commands and then I can save it as a .py. Okay, and then I can execute it from my command prompt, Python command prompt. This is what I showed you, right? So this is where, or you can go to the command prompt, the normal Windows command prompt, right? And then you can open this file and then you can execute it. Okay, so that is your .py. So the notebook, Jupyter Notebook, whatever the scripts that you developed it, right? See, in my case, this file name is Python Basics 1, right? This file extension is .ipynb, IPython Notebook. Short form is IPynb. This you should remember it. Okay. The next thing is the line continuation. I was talking about line continuation. See, this is the kind of thing, right? If you wanted to give multi-line command, you can give like this. Okay, this is actually not a multi-line command. This is a markdown thing. I will explain you what is markdown also. Right. So in this case, okay, I just thought of showing you something here. 1 second. Let me go to basics for 2 or let me go here. Okay, and 59 no. Okay, sometimes what will happen is, let's my line of code, each line of my code itself become a lengthy one. For example, x is equal to x plus y into 25 divided by z into 15. Okay, likewise I keep on type the commands till this end. Okay, till this end I will keep on type it, and finally what will happen, right? So once I reach this, let's 50 into 2 3 plus 2, what will happen here? Because of lack of space in this line, because the length of my single line command itself very big, it gets wrapped to your next line. Or sometimes you will press enter like this, because it goes and hides on the extreme corner to get visibility, or you are pressing enter. But when you execute this one, it will throw an error. That is what I showed here. Look here, just assume that this 2 is at the end of the thing, and since you want this to come in the next line, it you pressed enter, it came here, but still this 2 belongs to this line itself. Since this line, this 2 could not fit into this single line, because this line is too longer to fit accommodate this 2. You just press enter and it came to the next line. If you execute this one, it will throw an error, invalid syntax. Instead, what you do is, if a single line extend to the second line, you have to use backslash. If you give backslash, you are telling Python, hey, I have one more, the continuation of this line, you can find it from the second line. The continuation of this line, you have to read it from the second line. It is available in the second line, you have to read it. Right? So if you specify backslash, you will not get invalid syntax error. So these are the very basic things, okay, and those of you are already familiar with coding, and we know that you are already an expert, okay, bear with me, okay, but still these are the important things. This will save a lot of your debugging time. While you write the script, at the time of writing script itself, if you take care of these, small things, right, you can save a lot of your debugging time. You are able to understand, right, all of you?
Yes.
Fine. So next is the basic things, okay, arithmetic operators. I don't want to waste too much of time. Probably Rupa, you can go through this arithmetic operators and all these logical operators, and if you have any questions, let me know. And I have given some, the variable name here. For example, a is equal to 40 and b is equal to 20. You can try with this one, okay. So for example, just I'm just removing this one. Here x is equal, a is equal to 40. The next one is b is equal to 20, and what I do is equals. I wanted to check equals. A double equal operator, you need to use it, okay. A is equal to b, it says false because 40 is not equal to 20, right? You have to use b. But if you use a is equal to b, what will happen? What will happen? The value of b is 20, will get assigned to your a. So a will be overwritten when you assign 20 b value, okay. So that's why now your your a value 40 is replaced by 20 because you have specified b on the right hand side. This is single equivalent, is nothing but assignment. You need to understand this one very well, okay. Double equivalent, nothing but you are checking the condition. Now a is equal to b, okay. Let me do one thing, okay. I'll just remove this one because a is equal to b, now it is false, okay. Or if I specify like that, okay, a is equal to b, okay, true. Why is it true? You are able to understand, right, Rupa? For your purpose only I am explaining that. Rupa, you are able to understand, right? Can you tell me why we are getting true here?
Yes.
Why we are getting true?
Assign.
Yeah, see, a is equal, though the value of the variable a is 40, right? Here what you are doing? You are replacing the value of 40 by the value of b, 20 of your value b, right? So this, your 20 will be there, okay. In the memory, 20 will be there for this variable. This 20 will be assigned to your a. So the value of your a will get replaced by 20. That's why a is equal to b is true. So now you understood what is the purpose of difference between single equal sign and two equal sign, right? Try with all these things similarly, okay. We take these variables, try with these things, you should be able to understand it. If you get stuck, still you can come back to me. Similarly, you can use operator, logical operators. If this condition is if a is equal to 20, right? So and if you want, where is this one, right? So if x is greater than 20, and what you do is and you can check one more condition also, right? And x is or you can use r, okay. Or is or only here, right? Yeah, r is available. X is equal to 20, then you come and do this one, okay. So it will come to this loop, okay, inside this loop. So the one more important point that I wanted to make it now is right, in version 3.x, backward compatibility is not available, unfortunately. backward compatibility is not available in version 3.6. If you write any code here, okay, any syntaxes, right? There are some syntax differences between version 2.7 to version 3.6. Okay, you have to do some kind of rework. If you wanted to port all your script from version 2.6 to the latest version of Python later point in time, you have to do some amount of rework there. For example, if you don't use square bracket, sorry, this parenthesis, it works here, but in the version 3.6 you have to specify the parenthesis. If you don't specify the parenthesis, it is an error. If you don't specify parenthesis in version 3, it will throw an error. This is not acceptable. This is unacceptable in version 3.6. Instead, you have to use these braces, parenthesis. Okay. So now x equal to 20. Here I am using OR, right? So the logical operator. Either this condition should be true or this condition should be true. If any one of them is true, then you can allow him to perform execute this code of block. Yes, x is equal to 20. 20 is greater than 20. No, this condition failed. Okay, what other options I need to check? X equal to 20. Yes, x is 20 is equal to 20 is true. Then allow him to come inside this code block and execute this one. That is what it says. Right, so try all these things. Okay, and apart from this, you have in operator. We will discuss in operator in the subsequent slides. Next in variables. We have defined variables here, right? So x equal to 20 is a variable, right? So in the case of Java and other programming languages, you have to declare the variables. Right? For example, in the case of Java, you need to specify x, int data type. You have to declare this variable with the data type x. I have declared this variable x, and it is a int data type. This is how you will have to declare which all variables that you are using it in your program. You need to declare the variables before write your script. Okay, what all the variables that you are using, you have to declare it. Okay, that is the prerequisite. But in the case of Python and other languages, you don't have to declare it. Directly you can start use the variables. Right, so that is the important thing that you should be aware. And see here, the same thing, x equal to 11. This one variable, this another variable. Okay, those things you should be aware. And Python is case sensitive. We will work more on the variables things in the subsequent slides. These are the major data types that are available in Python. This basic data type, okay, number and strings. These are the primitive data types which is available in Python and many other languages also. Right, so primitive one. That's why I said it is primitive. In numbers itself, there are two different data types. One is integer, another one is float. Integer is a whole number, and float is decimal. Okay, and yeah. So Ankur, you already worked in OR. What is the what is the default data type for the numerical variable in OR? Numeric. If I store integer, right? If I want to convert it as an integer, how do I convert it?
As dot integer.
As dot integer. Yes, that's correct. Yes, fine. So the default thing is whether you use float or whether you use integer data, it will get stored as a float thing only. Okay, numeric thing, nothing but your float data type. Okay, in OR, if you want to convert the default, if you wanted to override the default behavior, there is a function called as dot integer that is available in OR. Here in the case of Python, if you wanted to convert float to integer, int function, float function, pretty straightforward. Int function, float function. If you wanted to, for example, 22.876, this is my data. I wanted to store only the whole number 22 only, right? So in that case, if you use int function, int within the bracket, this value if you specify it, it will convert it as a whole number, integer. Okay, and next is strings. Python strings are immutable. What is immutable, Ankur? What is immutable and mutable? You don't know, right? Okay. Immutability is nothing but non-modifiable. Non-modifiable, right protected. Okay, you cannot change it. Once you assign a value or once you assign a string to a variable, you cannot change it. Okay, you cannot modify it. That is what immutable. And apart from this, other data types are like container types. Okay, lists, dictionaries, tuples. So in Chennai, two guys, they attended an interview with Wipro, and other guy with he attended an interview with HCL. They asked this many questions around this one, lists and dictionaries and tuples. Okay, be familiar with this one. Don't forget this data structure. This is also called as data structure. Okay, Python's data structures, or they call it as a container types, or they call it as a data type also, advanced data types, complex data types. Okay, look here, int function. If you use int function, inside int, if you put this value 22.876, it will get converted as a 22. Inside there is something else called long. What is long? Long is also available in Python, but you don't have to specify any data type here. Internally it will be taken care. For example, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. How many digits are there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 digits are there. There is a function called type. Type is a function. What is function? This is an inbuilt function. Inbuilt function, note it down. Okay. Here, if I wanted to see the data type of X, I just typed it this one, and if I see, I can see long. This is a long. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. Let me remove one digit here. It became int. If you have 10 digits, if you define 10 digits value to your variable, that will become your long data type. Okay, long data type in Python. Okay, and if you anything less than 10 digits, it will be like your int. Once again, I'll add another digit here. Okay, now it became 10 digit, so the data type is long. Okay, how do I convert a long to integer? Right, you can convert it as an int to int of x, or you can convert it as a float also. Right, float. Ideally, let us convert it as a int. Let us see what happens. Print int of x. 1 second. Yeah. So it just let me. Yeah, but still. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, x is equal to int of x. Let us do type. Still it shows long only, even though you converted this as a integer thing, but still it shows as a long data type only, right? So anything, just keep that in mind. Anything above 9 digits will be converted as a long data type. You don't have to worry. Okay, behind the thing there is something called sys.int_max, right? So he internally maintains this variable, right? If he finds more than 10 digits, so more than 9 digits, it will assume those variable as a long data type. Next we will see the data structures. Python the data structures list is the basic data structure which is available as part of your this thing. Okay, and let me why it is error. Okay, let us start with some string variables before we proceed here. Numeric, we know very well, x equal to 1, y equal to 2. If I multiply these two and print it, right, print within the bracket x into y, 2 into 1, 2. But if I have a string literal here, right, this is, if I enclose any value by the quote, single quote, or it can be single quote or double quote, right. In Python, you can use either single quote or double quote to specify a string, to define a string. Okay, since I enclosed 1 by single quote, right, this x variable is called as your string data type. Okay, this is also your string data type. If I add these two things together, it will get concatenated. 1 and 2 will get concatenated. It is not adding it. Okay, it is not adding it. It is concatenating. It is placing this 2 along with 1. That's it. It is simply placing the 2 along with 1. But if I do any arithmetic operation, like into, if I take the product of these two variables, it is throwing an error. Cannot multiply sequence by non-int of type string. It is not a integer. You cannot multiply it. That is why it is throwing an error. multiplication of a string type by another string type using the star operator is not allowed. I mentioned the I mentioned the annotation also for your reference. These are all the dirty trick the interviewers they will play with us. Right? They will use these kind of things. They'll ask you what is the output of this one. Right? Some dirty tricks they play with you. You should be very cautious. And type function we discussed. Type function will display the data type of your variable. See, in this case, I wanted to know the data type of this capital X variable. It is an integer. Okay, it is a float type. If I assign 2.3 to a variable, this is a float data type. That's why it displays float data type. Whatever you see it in this yellow color, that is the code. Okay, and the output of the code is here. You can see it in my PowerPoint. Okay. That's how we need to understand that one. Okay, and okay, these are and another thing is in Boolean, right? So bool is equal to true. So this is a variable, okay, and assigning true. Type of bools. What is the type of this variable? What is the data type of this variable? So in Python, the Boolean data type is showed as bool, B-O-O-L. Often people forget this one. Okay. What is if I wanted to see the type of a Boolean data type, how will that get displayed? Bool. Okay, bool. Okay, next one is the type conversions. Let's 22 divided by 5. What value you will get it? Definitely you will have some decimal value, right? It will truncate the decimal value to display the whole number only. Similarly, this is a float data number 4.5, it will convert this a whole number 4. Okay, integer, it will convert this a integer. Okay, that's how you would try all these commands in your notepad. Okay, without fail you will try this one. Next is strings. Right, so here as I said earlier, if you wanted to convert or if you wanted to specify a string, if you want to define a string, either you can use double quote or you can use single quote. Okay, fine, we understood. But inside this string, let's I have mentioned one single quote, right, to define my string. But inside I need to include one backslash. But if you simply put backslash, it will throw an error. These are all called escape sequences. You need to put one more backslash. See here. Look here, if I use define a string, one single quote is more than sufficient. But while displaying it, it will display only this one. If you use only single quote, only this sentence will this line will get displayed. But you still if you want your output to be enclosed by the quote, then you need to specify one more quote. But if you specify one more quote, right? So what Python interpreter will think is, okay, it will start from here to here, this is one string, okay, backslash, use this one itself. Sorry, not backslash, from here to here only it will consider as a one string. The rest of them it will ignore it. I'll just give you I'll demonstrate you here in my notebook. For example, I'm using x is equal to I'm defining a string. This is my string, okay, and print x. See, it displays the string, but still my output should be enclosed by double quote. How do I do that one? How do I override that default behavior? Okay, let's say in between I need to put some kind of string, right? If you use string inside of this one, it will get confused, right? So what you need to backslash, and then you need to use a backslash, right? It should work, right? So print x, right, it will throw an error, and fine. Okay, now what we will do is, okay, let us try this one. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, and this one, sorry, unexpected character line. Here you have to specify. Yeah, I did that way only, and okay, I'm not supposed to do it here. I'll have to specify it here. Okay, yeah, fine. So now it works, right? So now we understood the difference between these two, right? So if I want my output the string output should also be enclosed by quote. You can put quote inside, but you need to use the escape sequence. This escape sequence, the backslash, right, will help your Python interpreter to interpret in such a way. You need to display the string output with the quote enclosed by it. Okay, that's how you need to use this one, escape sequences. Okay. And working with string data type, you have x1, hello world, two different strings are there. If you wanted to access the value inside of your string, you can use square bracket. This square bracket is nothing but your slice operator. These two square bracket, this square bracket is called your slice operator. And if you wanted to access the first element in your x1 variable, it displays h. If you wanted to access the values in your string, this is your x2 variable. Python programming, you displayed it here, right? You assign this value, string value, to your x2 variable, and x2 of the 1 to 5, right? The elements that are part of your string, right? You need to take only the first and the fourth literal. So what is 1 here? x2 of 1. What does that x2 of 1 is to 5? What is 1 is to 5? This first location is nothing but the first element in this string is nothing but your first letter. 0 is the indexes, okay? Indexes. If you want to access the first letter, you need to specify the index of the your elements location. 0 is nothing but your very first string. P is your very first thing. Okay, start from, so this is 0 and 1. Okay, 1 is your 0 is, sorry, here 1 is the second position. It starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the highest value n minus 1, you need to do that. Okay, start from the first literal 1, y. Okay, y is your first literal. Okay, 0 and 1 is your 1, first position. Okay, first position is nothing but 0 and 1. The second position is your 1, and the fifth position is which one, Rupa? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, n. But you are not supposed to go by the literal 5. You need to subtract it 1. The maximum value is 5 here, minus 1. So it starts with YTHO. That's it. It will not pick up the n, because the highest value you need to subtract it with 1. The indexing will stop from this location to this location only. That's how we need to play around with string. You start play around with these things in your Python notebook, you will understand everything. Okay, so and apart from this, the number, that integer and float and string data types, everything you can understand it by get your hands dirty in your Python notebook. Okay, and apart from this, you have something called dates and times. Data types are available. Okay, for that there are some packages are readily available in Python, inbuilt packages. What you do is you can import from datetime, import datetime, date and time. Okay, I'm just giving, I'm using this one, dt is equal to, I'm just using one variable, dt is equal to datetime of year, and this is your month, date, and hours, minutes, seconds. If you specify like that, print dt, right, it will be like your year, month, date, and then that date, time, everything, right? These are the commands that you can use it, right? You just refer my PDF file. You should be able to understand all the commands. When you execute it step by step, you should be able to understand it. Okay, just see this and type it in your Python notebook. It will work. If that doesn't work, then you have made a syntax error there. You need to recheck your spelling or the quotes or whatever. Okay, you need to use it properly. Syntax error. Okay, don't make any syntax error. Next one is list. What is list? List are the most basic data structure in Python. Lists are mutable. So what is mutable? Mutable is nothing but modifiable. Once you store your data in your list data structure, you can modify it later point in time. That is what mutable. This is what the interview question, right? In Wipro, they ask this question: what is the difference between mutable and immutable? Okay, what is the difference between mutable and immutable? Immutable is nothing but you can modify the data inside your list data structure later point in time. Okay, so how do you define list? This is how we can define it. A is equal to square bracket 7.1 comma any values. Okay, list can have a combination of any data type. You can specify number, integer, float, or you can specify string also. That is also possible. Now print type of A will return what? The data type, right? It is a list data type. I just want to confirm whether this A is a list or some other data type. It is a list data type. Okay, and if I wanted to access the elements inside my Python list, let's say I want to access the first element in my list. How do I access it? Here also you need to use the slice operator, which is nothing but your square bracket. If I specify 0, the very first item or very first element in your list will get displayed. See here, A of 0 is 7.1, it is getting displayed. A of minus 1, what is A of minus 1? Vinod or Rupa?
Last.
The last element. Okay, so A minus 1 is the last element, 13. 13 will get displayed here. Okay, and if I wanted to make any changes to any of the element inside the list, you can do it. Okay, A of 1 is nothing but your 12, right? You replace 12 by 24. I have done it that way, right? So 24 will get replaced by your the second element of your list. How do I do that one? A of 1. A of 1 is second location. 12 is equal to 24. A of 1 will get replaced by 24. That is what it will get replaced. Let's say 24. Right? A of 1 say 7.1. Right? After 7.1, 12 is the number supposed to have displayed. But since you assign 24 to A of 1, 12 got replaced by 24. See here 24. Rupa, you have to practice it everything. Only then you should be able to understand it. If you look at my PowerPoint alone, you will not be able to recollect everything. Okay, in order to understand it very clearly, you have to start practice it. Now I have another command. I have one list defined already. This height is a list, and I wanted to copy the data from one list to another list, new list. Okay, how I can do that? I have defined another variable. TMP height is equal to square bracket. To define a list, new list, you can define it like this. Now this list I defined it. Okay, or we can say I declared a new list. This list name dot append, right? Append int of height of 0. This list first element you take it and convert it as an int variable and append it as part of our temp height. So 143, 129, 201, 217. It converted all the float values into integer value while storing the height data elements into my newly created list, which is nothing but TMP height. Okay, these are all the various slicing operator. If I wanted to access the values or the elements from a list from different position, you can use these commands. Instead of explaining me, you can start practicing it so that you will understand everything. For example, let us take this one. So I assigned a string by the name of computer to this value x. If I wanted to access the values from the third position to the rest, you can use this one, x of 3 colon, right? 3 means start from the third position. What is the third position? 0, 1, 2, 3. Start from the third position to, if I put colon, right? So start from the third position and display the rest of the values. So PUT, rest of them are PUT. Start from the third position, display the rest of the item. That's why the answer is PUTR. That -1 will display the last element, or -3 last 3 letters, TER. Okay, this is how you can use it and start practicing it. You should be very much comfortable with this slice operator, and then this range. Colon is nothing but your range. This is the one we'll be using it in pandas also. Okay, be familiarized with this one by practicing in your IPython notebook. So this is another slicing operator, same as your the previous slide. Try this one also. Okay, and iterators. Okay, what is iterator? I have defined two different lists. So I wanted to read the values in my list B. Each and every element based on this content, this range, right? It has to read it and display it in my console. I can use for loop. For, you can specify any value here, any variable. For I in this list name, if you specify with the range, right? And then if you print this I, it will display all the contents of your list B based on the range that you defined it. Right, so next, this we already discussed in the previous slide. Okay, so here instead of manually appending, taking each and every element from this list and appending it to my new list, I can use a for loop. For I in height, okay, temp list, this is a new temp, let's say temp height, this one is temp, or I defined a new list here. Okay, temp list dot append int of I. Right, it will keep include all the values from your height to the new list called temp list by converting it as each and every element as integer data type. See, 143, 129, 201, 217. Simple, just 3-4 line command is sufficient to read the values from your one list and move it to another list. Right? There is another simple way of available here in Python. There is something called list comprehension. To move the data from one list to another list, you can use list comprehension. Using iterator also you can move the data. Iterator is nothing but the for loop. Okay, right, here in the case of list comprehension, just only one line is more than sufficient. Even in Scala, that is the beauty. Scala and Python, right? You can write many of the commands, many of the scripts in a single line itself. In the case of Java, you have to write lines and lines of code, right? So whereas in the case of Python and Scala and all, you don't have to write lines and lines of single line itself. You can write, you can implement your logic. See, look here, this is very interesting thing. Prices. Okay, sorry, here the prices and this value should have been square bracket. If I specify parenthesis, it is called another data structure, which is nothing but a dictionary, not dictionary, tuple. Okay, let's say this is how I defined it. Robert and Richard, these three persons' names are there as part of your names list. Okay, what I am doing is names of -2 colon, starting from the last two items. Okay, I'm reading it using for names in names. Okay, and the names of -2. Take all the values from the names list, especially the last two values. Okay, and then print it. It will print everything. Okay, -2 means 0, 1, 2, 3, right? Sorry, 1, 2, Richard and Michelle. And in this case, print the last three letters. Okay, start from the second thing, and okay, no. Take the two letters from each and every element. See here, LE, RD, RT, RT, RD, LE. Right. So take the last two letters from all these three letters. Right. So all these three elements. The last two is RT, last two is RD, and last two is LE. If you display this one after this, it will display like this. Okay, list comparison is very simple. When I talk about this one, it helps me to recollect the features of functional programming. This is very important. Please note it down if you want it. Okay, Python supports both functional programming as well as object oriented. What is functional programming? Ankur? Ankur, are you there? Yeah. How about Vinod? see in Python, right, functional programming is available, right? So these are all the things, right? List comprehension. These are all very, simple to write code. You don't have to write lines and lines of code. Whereas in the case of object-oriented, you have to write lines and lines of code. In functional programming, you don't have to write lines and lines of code, and you can implement all your logic in a single line itself. Like in this case, look here. You can watch my my presentation here. Okay, so here only one line is sufficient to take read all the values and display it here, especially the last two letters of each and every element displayed. See, in this case I have only 3 values are there in my names list. In real life, real time scenario, right, you will be having millions of values inside your list. If you wanted to read only each and every element's last 2 character, in a single line you can achieve it. Similarly here, right, so yeah, here, okay, just assume that instead of parenthesis you have square bracket. If you have square bracket, that is nothing but your list, right? One single line is sufficient, read all the values and int I, and then assign it to a new list by the name of temp list 2. See, look here, if you look here, you have to write 4 lines of code here. Right, so traditional for loop, these are we'll be using it. But in the case of this one, right, Python functional programming, just only one line is more than sufficient. Read all the values from this list and convert each and every element as integer and then store it in my list. One line is sufficient. Instead of writing 4 lines, you can write only one line. Right? That is the beauty of functional programming. There are 2 important features supported as part of functional programming. One is first class citizen. Another one is immutability. These 2 features supported by your functional programming. Listen carefully. Okay, pay attention to this. Okay, as part of functional programming, these 2 features are supported by our Python and Scala. This is very important. Functional programming supports 2 features. One is first class citizen. First class citizen is also called as functional programming. Second one is immutability. Immutability I discussed several times, right? Non-modifiable. Once you store the data, you cannot modify it. What is first class citizen? You can assign a function to a variable. And another feature is, as part of first class citizen, is you can pass a function as an argument to another function. You got it right? Simple thing. Okay, let me write one program for this one, because this is very, very important concept. Not many of them are unfortunately covering this one. Even you can many online helps are available, many videos are available, still you do not know the flow completely. I'll just write it here. Okay, x is equal, let's say I'm going to define a function. Rupa, don't worry, don't panic by looking at this function, hearing this function, all the things. Okay, I'm just pausing x, right? So here what I'm doing is x is equal to x plus 10, return x, right? So I'm just calling this one df as, let's say 10, print. What is the output of this one, Ankur?
I'm not able to get your screen.
You can't see my screen.
Right now there is some 2 cells, the first element is.
Can you see it now?
In front of me there is page where the first line is 2.
Okay, no problem. I will put it in chat. Can you tell me the output of this one? No, okay, I put it to Rupa, right? Okay, sorry. I'll close this one. I'll put it all. Okay, and here to everyone. Okay, can you see my script? What is the output of this one? Vinod or Ankur? What is the output of this one? Very good. Why it is 20? This, we are passing 20 as an argument, right? You are passing 20 to a function. This is called your function. This is how you have to define a function in Python. This is a very simple function, right? So in order for you to get a hang of quickly, right, I wrote a simple function. So this 10 will be passed to your function here, right? So this is how you need to define a function. This is a reserved word, def. This is your function name. To define a function, you have to prefix your function with def. This is mandatory. This is a keyword. Okay. This can be anything. This is your function name. Def is your function name. Rupa, can you hear me? Please pay attention. I'm talking a very important feature of functional programming. Okay. X. I'm passing a value. See, if I call this function. Here I am calling this function def, right? So I am calling this function by passing this value. I am passing 10 to this function def. This 10 will be passed here. X will have 10 here. 10 plus 10 is 20. It will return 20. That's why it is returning 20. You are able to get it, right? That is why it displays 20. Okay, Rupa, you can probably hear my video. I'm just, 1 second, whether I started it. Yeah, the recording is going on. Okay, so I will share the video so that you should be able to understand this one by passing this video. Okay, yeah. So now coming to the functional programming, right? The feature, the important feature of this one. Let's say I'm using, I'm using a variable called y. Y is equal to df of 10. Print y. What is print y? Or I will just use 20. What is y value now? 30, right? So look here. Here I am assigning a function to a variable. I am assigning a function to a variable. This is a function. I am assigning it to my variable. Print y. This I am calling a function. Df by passing the value 20 to this function. 20 plus 10 is 30, right? This function's output, the returned value, which is nothing but the 30, will be assigned to a variable by the name of y, right? You are assigning a function to a variable directly. Let's say I have another variable def of my df2 of df colon print, let's say I wanted to display something called df. Okay, and what I'm doing is my df function is already there. Okay, and what I'm doing is df of 40 or 35. 45. What happened here? Okay, sorry, df of 35, right? Okay, let me do one thing. df2, yeah, df2 of 35. What happens here? I'm just passing 35 to, okay, it is going there, right? Okay, 1 second, let me do one thing. I'll just remove this one, 35. Let us see what happens. Function, okay, it will not do anything. Okay, let me pass 3. Okay, inside my df function, what I am doing here? Okay, let me do one thing. Df of this one, right? No, it is not df of this one. Let me do one thing. I will go to my thing, right? So here you can pass one function to another function. This is what the thing I mentioned here. Okay, passing a function as a variable. Okay, and passing function as a variable, right? See, I'm just look here. Look my screen. So inside this function, right, so there is a function by the name of method1. I am returning this value, right? I am just passing this function method to run, method to, okay, this is another function. There are two functions here, function 1, function 2. Yeah, the result I am calling this function, method to run function. Okay, this is the new function, this function, right? I am passing this function to this function as an argument. The same thing we'll write out here. Okay, df2 of my df. Okay, and here what I am doing is, right, so df2 of df, right, so this is how you need to, welcome to Python hello world, right, this is the one returns as part of this function, return of x, right, so x, and here what you are doing is method 2. Okay, and what you are doing is, let me do one thing, result is equal to my, okay, this is the df function, right, method to run df, right, and df function I'm just calling it, takes exactly one argument. Okay, and df function result, return result. Okay, return result, let me do one thing, return result. Okay, and here df function, okay, df1, let me do one thing, no, it is throwing an error, print result. Okay, let me do one thing, I'll just pass this one, sorry. No, okay, and here it should okay, method 2 of df2 of df of 10. All I have to just pass this on. Okay, what I do is, let me do one thing, x is equal to, I'm just assigning a value here itself, okay, 20, and I'm just displaying print df. Okay, I did not call this function. Now what I do is df2 of df. See, now you understood, right? I'll just copy paste it here. See, here I defined one function called, function name is df here, okay, and I am doing some kind of arithmetic operation inside this df function. How did I define this df function? By prefixing by df and this colon. Colon is very crucial, right? I am returning. See, here what will happen? 20 will be substituted here. 20 plus 10 is 30. So your x will have 30. Return x will return this output of this variable 30. Okay, but here I'm not printing it here. Okay, let's do one thing. I'm not printing it here. Instead, I'm just, I created a function. I'm just passing this function as an argument to another function by the name of df2. This argument name can be anything, okay, but this is a function, in this case df1 function, return result. The df1 already assigned a value as 20 to the x, right? When I give this one df, say, let's say df2 of df I've given, right? I'm invoking this df2 function by passing this function as an argument. This function already got a variable by an argument as x, which got assigned a value 20, right? So here what will happen is, this one will get triggered here inside, the output get displayed here 30. Okay, this is how you need to understand. Okay, I'll just put it in my PowerPoint about this one also. This is now you understood how to pass a function as an argument to another function, and also you learned how to assign a function as a value to your variable. These two concepts you should remember it. Anyhow, I will put it here itself. Okay, and now itself I'll do it so that I should not forget it. Right, so this is the thing. Okay, you don't want to paste everything here, you will get confused. This is also called as first class citizen or functional programming. The yellow colored one is your code, and then white is your output. The 30 is your output. So 20 plus 10, 30, it is getting executed, right? So I just copy paste it. Okay. So the important function of the functional programming, right? So the features of this one, right? One is first class citizen, which is also called as functional programming, right? Here you can pass a function as an argument into another function, right? And assign a function to a variable also. This is also possible. This is the beauty of functional programming. Okay, and another one is immutability. As part of interview, if you can proactively tell these two things, right, they will be able to understand. And even many of the seasoned professionals, they do not know what is first class citizen. Okay, and also you can tell them it is also called as functional programming. Okay, so with this you can do these two things, and immutability is non-modifiable. You can't modify. The same thing is applicable in Scala also. Scala supports functional programming as well as OOPS, object oriented. Okay, object oriented programming, OOPS. Okay, OOPS concept. Okay, in Python also it supports both, but with the help of functional programming, you can write very minimal lines of code here. You can write, so sometimes you can write the 10 lines of code in a single line of code itself. That is the beauty of functional programming. But in Java also now, in version 8 of Java, they have implemented functional programming along with object oriented programming. Shamelessly they copied these features from Scala and the Python, and they implemented in version 8 of your Java. Version 7 is not supporting functional programming. You have to write object oriented programming only. Okay, going back to list. How do I define a list? List is a immutable one or a mutable one? Rupa, can you tell it? Mutable. You can change the value. Right, that is what your list. Yeah, list comprehension also you understood. Next, tuples. What are tuples? Tuples are immutable. In contrast to list, tuples are immutable. What is immutable? You cannot change. Once you store the data, you cannot change it. That's why I mentioned write protect. This term write protect. Right? Once you, how do you define tuple? Parenthesis. You have to use parenthesis. Instead of square bracket, you have to use parenthesis. Okay. If you use parenthesis, it will become a what? Yes.
Immutable.
Yeah. So 2, 3, 8. Type of x1 to check whether what type of data is this one. Rupa, what type of data is this one? X1 is what type of data? Tuple, right? Can I assign a value to my tuple? Can I modify? No, you cannot modify it. Right? You cannot modify a value stored in your tuple. How do I access a value in my tuple? By using indexing, right? Slice operator. Square bracket is your slice operator. X1 of 1, what does that say? X1 of 1, Rupa? Display the second element. If I want to display the first element, what index value I have to use it here?
X of 0.
Very good. X of 0. Yes, very good. Right, that's how you. Now, I wanted to change the value of x of 1, the 0 as some other value. If I put 12, what will happen? What is supposed to happen? This 12 has to be has to replace my 2, right? Instead of, in the case of list, if I use the same command, what will happen? The 2 will be replaced by 12 in the case of list. Let us see in the case of tuple what happens. It throws an error. Tuple object does not support item assignment, or yeah, you cannot change the value here. Okay, You cannot modify the value in tuple. Also, like list, since I told you, right, list tuples also similar to that of your list in some aspect, right? What aspect? You can store. Let me do one thing here. In yeah, print x1, print x1. You can have both string as well as numerical data type, right? You can combine, you can have any data types. It supports heterogeneous data types, both list and tuples. But how do you define tuples? Parenthesis, list, square bracket. Can you modify? You cannot modify. That's what we have seen it. Like whatever the operations that you can do it in terms of accessing the elements of your list, the same thing is possible here also. If you wanted to access the last value from your list, t of -1, you can give it. So in this case, example, right? The last element that is getting displayed here. So rest of them are self-explanatory. Just read these things in the interest of time. You can read all the things, right? In tuples, you can do many operations. Okay. Yes. Here, this is a tricky thing. See here in this case, look here. Okay. These are the elements I defined it for this tuple. Right? This tuple has these elements. If I use this operator, right, plus is equal to 44 comma, this value is getting concatenated with your tuple. This is a very tricky question, interview. If they ask you this one, right, how can I concatenate a value to a tuple? Is it possible to concatenate one tuple with another tuple? Yes, it is possible. If you specify 44 comma, right, and plus equal to, this is considered as a tuple. This tuple data to this tuple, you can concatenate it. See, now this is become a part of this one. Though tuple is immutable, but still concatenation is possible. Can you delete a value from a tuple, Ankur?
No idea.
You cannot, because it's write protect. You cannot delete a value from a tuple. You cannot modify a value which is part of your tuple. This is, deleting is a tricky thing, right? Write protected means what is that? You cannot, delete it. Read only.
That's actually this concatenating is also a non-editable part. So I thought it may be possible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you can delete it. Okay, you can sorry, you cannot delete it. Write protect. Okay. Write protect is nothing but read only, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Fine, but you have to specify this comma. Comma is required. Without the comma, it is treated as an integer. If you don't specify comma, it will be treated as an, okay, you are assigning an integer to a tuple, then it will not work. It will throw an error. Can only concatenate tuple to tuple, not integer. Tuple to tuple, you can concatenate the value. This is how, but you need to specify comma. Right? And the next command is sorted. You can sort a tuple's value by using a sorted command. Okay, sorted within the bracket. If you specify my tuple, it will start. Okay, 11, 22, 33, 44, 54. And likewise, it's sorted. Okay, in ascending order. List versus tuples. What is the difference between list and tuples? This is what the thing. Okay, this document is available for you all. Okay, and any of the updated one, whatever the changes that I made it, right? I will re-upload it once again. Right, you can just look at it. Just after this training program, give me half an hour time. I'll upload this one, and also video takes some time. You have to wait for some time to check my videos. Videos also I will upload it, so that by looking at my by watching my video, you can keep yourself up to date at any point in time. Okay, you can recollect whatever the concepts I trained you. You can recollect it. So now it is already 11:10 a.m. Okay, we will continue the training tomorrow, same time. Okay. Yeah, everybody is busy. Please make some time to understand this one. As I told you, right, Python is also the leading language of choice for data science related implementations, and lot of openings are coming around R and Python. Okay, please make yourself available tomorrow. Okay, Right, everybody is busy, even I am busy, even many people are having appointment with doctor, everyone. Please make sure that at least you are logging in through your mobile also. Okay, fine. Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay, let us circle back tomorrow same time. Okay, videos will be available probably after 1 hour, but the PDF you can access it in another 5 to 10 minutes time. Okay, bye.